This is the happiest guy in the building because he just got back his laptop after forgetting it last night, huh? Man. With the entire ControlUp's source code, man. Jeez.
Just the next version.
Now we can tell it, right? Okay, so we'll wait for like 1 more minute probably because there are swarms of people coming in from another session, I think. Yeah, heard about that. But first, while you guys are here, and just spend 1 more minute before we start, how many of the guys here are actually using ControlUp or have seen a demo? Okay.
Anybody?
So we can just no. So we'll probably skip the overview part. Okay. Okay, let's start, guys. So just a quick intro. My name is Yoni. I'm the COO and one of the co-founders at ControlUp. Trent?
Hi, I'm Trent and Ty. I joined ControlUp in November, so I'm super excited to be here, super excited to join the team. I'm a Citrix CTP, just got awarded this year, so yeah. First year.
What, maybe the first Canadian CTP, is that right?
No, I think Claudio Rodriguez was the first one, and he was there for a long time. But right now I'm the only one.
Excellent, man. And let's keep it that way. No. Okay, so hey, tweet about us, let's make this epic. So let's click over to the next. Okay, so guys, I'm happy that most of you here are actually familiar with ControlUp because we're going to focus on the new things. And it's, to me, it's an exciting moment because this is by far the biggest release ever. We listened to you guys, we listened to our customers, and we added the probably #1 request over the last 5 years. And that's ControlUp automation. And I think the result is awesome. And probably the main purpose of this session to convince you guys that long gone are the days of manually fixing tedious issues. We can now free your time for some more strategic things. And stay tuned because you'll learn in this session exactly how we do it, which use case we're going to cover, and also cover some other 7.4 features. So let's have a quick look on the agenda here. So those of us who know ControlUp know that we have a long tradition of doing live demos, even though it's sometimes dangerous, especially with conference Wi-Fi's. So today will be no exception, right? Few slides just to give you some context about what ControlUp is all about, and then live demos until we're done, okay? Another housekeeping note, ask questions. Again, the whole point for you guys to learn about the new technology. So don't be shy, we have a mic here, just, come by and ask questions, okay? Great, so the live demos will be mainly about the new 7.4 release. I'll cover the easy part, and then Trent will do the heavy lifting, obviously doing the automation use cases, and it's really great, so stay tuned. We have some new great things beside the automation. We'll see it in a sec. And if we'll have time, we'll also show you the new ControlUp Insights release, which is, I think, a fantastic release. We really enhanced the backend. Insights is now much faster, shorter delay, etc. We'll see it in a sec. Okay, so let's move on. So to quickly cover the overview, we have been out around since 2011. Really high growth. I think we have almost 1,000 customers right now across the US, Europe. It's growing fast, it's great. The headquarters is actually here in the States, in the Silicon Valley. I'm managing the Israeli site where we have the engineering teams, product, etc. And you can see some of the great partners we are working in over the last few years. Next slide, please. So this is the main thing, right? So ControlUp was always a unique solution, guys. Okay, and these use cases might sound familiar, but let me explain why I think we're so unique. So monitoring, when usually someone say monitoring, they think about an email alert when something goes wrong. So we do that, but we also provide a live, up to 3 seconds delay, real-time display for your entire compute stack. And that's different, that's unique, and that's great. One of the primary reasons people love ControlUp. Okay, so that's our take on monitoring. Analytics, this is something we keep enhancing on every release. We have great reports, and if some of you are Insights users, you might have seen some of the new analytics reports we've added over the last year. Top insights, size recommendations, environment assessment, and we're going to add more and more analytics based on the crazy data we gather from our customers, obviously strictly anonymized. And finally, remediation. Okay, this is by far the biggest differentiation between ControlUp and some of the other solutions you see out there. Now, we always had remediation built into ControlUp, okay? Running actions, running scripts, we have a huge library of scripts, we'll cover that in a bit. And the big step forward in 7.4 is now we're offering automated remediation. And that's huge, guys. It's huge, and you'll see that in a minute. Next slide, please. Quick cover, just high-level overview of the architecture. Probably more than 90% of our customers are actually using the hybrid cloud approach, where we host the controller plane in the cloud. This means for our customers, really simplified deployments, no backend servers, no SQL databases, no web servers. It's all on us, allowing you to focus on just the value. Okay, so on the customer side, we have the real-time console. We have the data sources. Obviously, we can connect to any virtualization layer, from VMware to Nutanix, Hyper-V, public cloud, whatnot. Zen server, sorry, Citrix hypervisor, obviously. Our own agent running inside each and every Windows OS, whether it's physical, virtual server. We support anything from Windows XP to Server 2019, the latest Windows 10 OSs. We recently added support for NetScaler, for the Zen desktop APIs. We are working on additional integrations with Azure, with lots of other vendors, so stay tuned for that. The final component sitting at the customer side is the ControlUp monitor service, doing mainly two things. One, 24/7 alerting, and new in 7.4, the monitor service is also covering the automation module. And I'll show you guys that in a sec. And two, continuous upload to ControlUp Insights. Okay, so it's a pretty crucial component. Make sure you have it deployed. Next slide, please. Okay, so lots of new customers. This is not a marketing session, so let's move on, man. This is great. Okay, so live demos. Yeah, okay, so I'll start with the two new features in 7.4 before the automation platform. Okay, the first one is, I think it's one of our most beloved features, is the virtual expert. So a quick recap of what we had. By the way, just in case this is the first time you're seeing this, which is probably not, this is our real-time console running on your management servers, on your endpoints, running on-premises, connected to everything, showing real-time stats on anything we can monitor. Okay, so quick recap on the virtual expert before 7.4. So here we have an issue, right? We have like high I/O on one of our virtualization hosts. So the virtual expert is actually a way to intuitively understand what would be the next drill down step in order to figure out the root cause of a performance issue. Okay, in this case, you can see we actually recommend our customers to drill down into the VMs there, running on the same OS. And we'll actually, let's do that, right, Trent? Let's double click, let's zoom out, double click on the cell for a sec, so you can see it in action. So what will happen once Trent will actually drill down into this issue, you will see the virtual expert in action. Okay, so we're actually going to, we're clicking on that?
Where'd you like me to go? Computers?
Yeah, let's do that, yeah. Okay, so scroll all the way to the left, please, on the lower part. So now you can see that we're intuitively highlighting what we think is the root cause of this I/O issue. Okay, so prior to 7.4, Virtual Agent would cover you guys whenever you want to troubleshoot the performance issue by intuitively suggesting the next navigation steps. Now, you probably think, how can this great feature can be even better, right? So we have an answer for you guys. So in 7.4, we actually enhanced this feature to also now suggest on remediation or troubleshooting scripts. So it's now actually two things, like two in one. A, suggesting on navigation rules, and B, suggesting on scripts based on context. And let's see a few examples. So let's look on login duration. I know we all love slow logons because we can fix them now and we can be heroes. So if we'll see here, now that we click on this visual indication, ControlUp will now automatically show you guys the top 5 scripts which makes the most sense in order to figure out A, either to get more data about this specific issue, or B, remediate it in some cases. Okay, now it's even better than this. Prior to 7.4, you guys had to manually download scripts in order for them to be available here. In 7.4, we actually simplified that. So you see this small cloud icon right next to the list users map network drives. This means this script is not available in my environment, but since we're so cool, we show it to you guys, and it's like streamlined, right? If you click on that, we'll automatically download it in the background, run it, so it's all nice and easy. So again, no need to know which scripts we have, no need to know any complex stuff. Just click on the relevant issue, and we'll highlight what's the best recommendations here. Okay, by the way, we have a really strong team of experts working on enhancing the scripts library. Trent will cover that in a sec. It's really great. Let's see two more examples. So latency last, latency last, that's a nice example. So here, obviously, we show the latency, which is nice, but we have scripts that can actually give you more data. Like, for example, what's the round trip type in addition to latency, or any other thing you can see in here. let's check one more advanced example. Let's go to the processes view and look on one of the I/O metrics we have for processes. Okay, so pretty straightforward. We can see if we have processes running some crazy I/O loads. But now using the new suggestions, we can actually, Trent will show you one of the most advanced scripts we have. It will be on screen in a sec. So now we can actually go beyond the process layer. Okay, so by using some of the really advanced script we have here, we can, for example, run Pokemon in the background. It's completely streamlined. And the output will show you which files are actually generating the high I/O load. So by using this new intuitive script suggestion engine, you can go deeper and find root causes even above the process level, which is really great. Okay, just a final note about this. Can we show them the script engine rule for a sec? So one of the coolest thing here is that, not let's see this for a second. No, let's jump to the script engine rules.
Triggers?
Yeah. No, not the triggers, the virtual expert setting right there. So one of the coolest thing here is that actually we're doing the work for you guys. So all the suggestions you have seen, these are actually cloud-based, right? So we are doing it as a vendor, and it's automatically synced to all of our customer sites. And we are continuing to do that as we have more scripts available in the library, right? So if, for example, we have a new script about something that might fix a latency issue, we'll configure the rule in here, and it will automatically appear the next time you guys will click on a latency issue, okay? In addition to that, you can create your own rules. Okay, so if you have a script, for example, which can streamline an app issue, you can use this suggestion engine here to configure your own rule, and the next time your tier 1 guys will click on a process with ICP or something, you will see the script which fixes the issue in your environment. Okay, how cool is that? Thanks, Oleg. We have right here the product manager who actually invented the whole thing, man, so great job. Okay, so, yeah, he deserves it, man, he deserves it. Okay, so let's go back to the slide for a sec. The second feature I want to show you guys before the automation is the new user experience monitoring feature we have in 7.4. So let's show them the Microsoft KB for a sec. Just escape from the Google slide and go to the Chrome tab there. Okay, so Microsoft finally delivered. Okay, I know it's a weird thing to say, but and the reason I'm saying this is because we have a new metric. It's actually a performance metric called user input delay, and this is by far the best metric to figure out what's the ongoing user experience for any app and for any protocol. Okay, this is supported on all the new OSs, so Windows 10, 1809, and 2019. And what it's actually measuring is how long it takes an application to process a user input, which is either a keyboard, stroke or mouse click. And this is, again, it's agnostic, so it doesn't matter which VDI solution you use. Obviously, you use Citrix. It doesn't matter which app it is. Any Win32 app will work. And let's see this live in action. Again, this is great to show you what's the current user experience for any user running an environment. So let's go back to the real-time console. And let's focus, Trent, on the RDS 2019 folder, because obviously that's where the metric is supported. And let's go to the sessions view and drill down into the new user input delay metric we have there. Okay, so let's scroll left a bit so the guys can see. Okay, so what you see here on screen, this is the user input delay in milliseconds for any app running inside the user session. We just happen to have an RDP session, which is the one session we're seeing on screen right now. And Trent will now play a bit with the Explorer shell, which is essentially a desktop, and you will see in real time how long it takes for the Explorer shell to actually react to Trent's inputs. Okay, so continuously live data, and this is exactly what the user is feeling. Now let's take it up a notch. Okay, let's move on to a more intense app. We have the Adobe one. It's opened right there on the. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, this is a bit more intense because it's a pretty large 3D module. It's really CPU intensive, and now when Trent will try to play with this and actually get some feedback, we will see that the user input delay is much higher than what we've seen with the desktop shell. Okay, and this is indeed what the user is feeling, right? While he's trying to interact with it, it takes time. Okay, so hopefully you now figure out why this is so great, to figure out the user experience, and hopefully you guys will upgrade soon to Windows 10, 1809, or 729, and you can enjoy this new feature. And finally, this is fully integrated with all of our features. Okay, so triggering, reporting, everything you're used to with ControlUp will be supported with this new metric. Okay. So let's go back to the presentation and now to the main dish. And I'll obviously do the easy parts because I'm the boss and Trent will do the heavy lifting. So I'll try to explain how this works, and then Trent will actually show you the actual use cases and the cool things we have going on. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So you guys should be familiar with that. The ControlUp monitor service, it's always connected to everything, right? So it knows about processes, sessions, metrics, whatsoever. And in the background, it's connected to the configuration database, which essentially holds the triggers. So the set of rules and conditions will tell us what to look for when something is happening. And in 7.4, we now have ControlUp automation rules associated with these conditions. Okay, so let's do like one click here. So let's assume for a sec we have configured ControlUp to automatically identify whenever the free space on the system drive is below 5 gigabytes. Okay, and this happened right now. The agent will report that back to the monitor service. So now we have a trigger fired. Let's click on this again. This is new in 7.4. So now, in addition to notifying on you this happened via an email or whatnot, we can now actually run a script, any script action, following up on the condition we just met. Okay, in this case, we'll probably run a script that will go ahead and clean up temp directories, temp profiles, whatever we can do safely while sessions are running in order to probably remediate the issue. Okay, let's click on that again. The script finished executing. It's sending the output back to the monitor service. And if you guys choose to do so, let's click on that again, we will actually send you guys via email the script output. Okay, so think how crazy is this? You sit there, you know, drinking your coffee, watching whatever. You get an email saying, hey, on this server we had a free space issue. We fixed that. Here is what we got deleted. Go on, you know, watch YouTube, whatnot, just do your thing. So this is how it's working in the background. And with this, I want to pass the torch to my good friend, Trent, who will show you additional use cases for this feature.
Great. So, hi, everybody. I am super excited to be here. I'm super excited that for this feature, this is something that I used to be a customer, now a ControlUp employee. We've all been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this. This is the biggest release I think ControlUp has ever had, and it is polished and set up a whole bunch of things that is just going to move us into the future. So, talking about automated actions, we've looked at them, and we've looked at what they're capable of, and we've categorized them. We found 3 categories that most scripts end up falling into. So we can improve the user experience by manipulating objects within the sessions, whether they're processes or virtual machine level or host level type actions, to actually make your experience better. The other one we have is maybe you don't want to actually execute some level of remediation. Maybe you want more information so that way you can actually take an action yourself, right? We don't necessarily trust scripts all the time, but we do want to gather more information. So for that, we can actually reduce our troubleshooting time by gathering more contextual information of events as they occur. And then the last one, and probably the best one that's going to save us all a lot of time and make our lives a lot easier, is automatic remediation. So again, using scripts, we can trigger on events and metrics and actually produce an action that is going to solve a problem for us, so that way no one will see it.
Yeah, it's
right?
crazy, man.
System boots up and it's got an issue, it generates an event, automatic remediation kicks in, no one's the wiser, problem solved. So we actually have an amazing, talented script-based, or I guess essay now, I should update the slide.
Actions, yeah.
Script-based action team, so led by Ricky. We have Guy Leach. Guy Leach is actually right here in the front.
Yeah. A partial beast, if,
the best.
Yeah.
The best. So Guy actually QAs my scripts. So that's...
He has a lot of work.
he's got a lot of...
Yeah.
He comes back a lot, and I've got stuff to fix. Will Code for Cheese. I love that Twitter handle. So Ton is a part of the team too, so he's a wonderful guy. Marcel.
With cheese, obviously.
Yeah. That works really well. Marcel's right there. He's another one of our on the SBA team here. He's great. Dennis Geerlings, he's based out of Las Vegas, I think.
Yeah.
So he's there, and then myself. So we are on it. This is the top talent guys right here, top talent people.
And by the way, in addition to these great guys, we have community experts. Keep pushing in your ideas and scripts. And Carl right here is a good example of that. And we encourage everyone to just send their ideas, their scripts. We welcome them, and then we publish them as part of the community script.
Yeah, that's a great point. So Carl has actually written a script already that's going to solve a problem that we're going to put into the into our automatic remediation. So that's going to be a big thing. So thank you, Carl.
Yeah.
Let's give a better applause. That was All right, so let's get into some of the live demos. So we're going to do, we're going to automate the user experience optimization. So this is that first use case we were talking about. We're going to touch on low disk space, which you mentioned before. So, you know, everyone in the Citrix world, if you run out of disk space on your PVS servers or on anything really, you're going to run into a really major problem.
Yep.
So we monitor disk space. So we actually monitor minimum free disk space on both your system drive or just the lowest drive that you have available. And we can actually do an action on that now. So we can detect when it hits a certain threshold, and we can clean up your space for you. The last example, we put it as a video because one of the hardest things to try to demo is temporal type actions. But custom idle and disconnect timers. This is actually something that's really near and dear to me. I'm the kind of guy who hates silos. And one of the reasons you're going to silo a Citrix environment is because you have to have custom idle and disconnect timers. And to me, it's one of the most frustrating reasons to have to silo servers and actually silo applications across them. So, but with the ControlUp platform now, we can trigger on what the state is of the user and what the time is. And when we do that, we can actually disconnect the session and log off the session. So we can have custom timers
on the same box.
On the same box.
Different
and we can trigger it on application. We can trigger it on specific users. Whole new set of complexity, whole new set of amazing simplicity too for your infrastructure.
So yeah, let's start with the first one. Actually, it's something that we already just saw. Just want to show to you guys how it looks like. So as you might have noticed, and let's make it more apparent in here. Let's play with the Adobe again a bit so it will go up. So as you can see here, the Adobe process priority is already above normal. That's because of the automation rule we have in place. So let me show you how this actually works behind the scenes. So we have a trigger in place, which will actually identify whenever a certain app has a bad experience. Let's put this here on screen. And we'll automatically detect that. And we have, pretty extensive conditions. Let's put it on screen right now. So this is a very simple example. Trent, maybe you want to explain what we're seeing here?
Yeah, absolutely. So the user input delay, as Yoni was explaining, is the delay between when you click on something in your UI and when it gets a response back. So this is a wonderful metric that Microsoft has put in. It's actually measuring the user experience now, right? So the Citrix one measures latency as well, like network latency. This one is application-based. So you can actually tell on the server itself what the user is actually experiencing, removing network from the equation. And so in this particular trigger, what we're doing is we're looking for that metric. We're looking to see if their experience is starting to degrade, if it's going over 100 milliseconds. And we're looking for particular applications. And then we're actually going to check it. Once it's in that state, we're going to produce an action.
Yeah, and by the way, the conditions are very customizable. We have lots of stuff. So you guys can play with it. Pretty much anything we know about, which is available in the grid, is available as part of the conditions you guys can configure. So like the imagination is probably the only limit here. So as Trent mentioned, this is the condition. And now the new thing in 7.4, the whole magic, is essentially this new run action option here, which allows us to tie in either one or more scripts to the condition we just showed you guys. So in this case, we have this script. And Trent, you can probably explain this better than I am. What we have here.
Sure. So I've written it's a very, very simple script. One of the more amazing things about this engine is that now that we're moving all this conditional logic into triggers, we're actually removing it from scripts. So by doing that, we're actually simplifying our scripts. So I've written a script here that all it does is it just takes a process that we're going to pass in as an argument to the script, and it's just going to update the priority. So once we pass all of our thresholds, all of our triggers, and they get clear, it's going to run this script, and it just says, hey, this is your process ID, set it to this. So it actually ends up, I think it's a 2-liner, and really it could be 1.
There you go.
So this is incredibly powerful because all of a sudden, all that conditional metric, all that conditional statements that I was talking about before, it's in the triggers. So our script is actually very, very simple. And as I've been doing use cases and developing scripts, I'm finding that more and more and more. So scripts are just becoming Super simple, but super powerful because we can determine when they run.
Yeah, and now that we have essentially gave higher priority for the Adobe app against the CPU, we can expect like, you know, a better user experience, and that's the whole point. Okay, so that's like one use case, and you know, again, think about it, what you can do with that. Yeah, move on to the next one.
Sure.
One of my
So
favorites.
let's look at low disk space. So talking back to that use case before, if you're a Citrix user, if you have a Citrix server and you run out of disk space, you're going to have a bad day. So what we've done is we've configured a trigger here, and we've configured a script here to automatically clean up temp files that's on a server. So Yoni's actually going to find it, find a particular box. So we're looking at this. So 5.3 gigabytes. We've set the trigger here to action or to cross that threshold when we're at 5 gigabytes or lower. So we've got a particular server here. Yoni's going to produce some temp files.
Okay, so this is where we really need the demo gods to work here, although I'm quite confident, man. I'm not sure. So what we'll do here right now, so the trigger is set to watch for any disk space going below 5 gigabytes. And right now we're almost there. And we're going to run a PowerShell script manually that we should lower the disk space below 5 gigabytes. And if everything goes well, the AA, the control automation action should kick in, delete files in the temp folder, and actually remediate the issue. Okay, so let's do that. Hope for the best, and then I'll show you the actual settings. Okay, so here we go, 5.3, we're all good. Maybe we can zoom in a bit. So I'm going to create a file here. Okay, it's created in the temp folder. It should lower the threshold below 5 gigabytes, and this should kick in the automation, which cleared the temp file and should remediate the issue. Yeah, it's working! Woo! Good job. Woo! Okay.
One more time.
No way, man. Okay, so, no, I'm kidding. This is like 100% reliable. We have no bugs whatsoever. So
I've never had an issue.
So just to show you what happened here behind the scenes. So the script, again, it's very simple here. Trent, it's your script. So you can
That's right.
it.
So again, you know, we're taking all that conditional logic out. We're not checking for free space here. We're not checking for anything like that. We're just doing very simply cleaning up the folder. That's all we need to specify is what do we want to do. Moving all that conditional logic out of the script and putting it into the trigger. Because if you didn't do that, the script gets a lot more complicated. So this is, if you write scripts, you're going to be writing very, very simple scripts, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and this is the actual condition. And again, this is a simple use case. I see, by the way, I don't see any reason why any one of you guys wouldn't have this configured in your environment. Right? It's easy, it's robust. And we can take it to more extreme use cases. So think about the PVS write cache drive. We can check this out and clear whatever we can clear from that. And again, sky's the limit here. So
you can run Clean Manager. We can specify a schedule on here, so it only runs after hours if free disk space is low.
Actually, maybe this is a good time to show you like the extensive work being done by our great script action team. So one of the things they've added is the clean, I think it's called, the clean Windows system drive. And just to show you that we take it seriously. So it's a really extensive script, okay? Obviously, with error handling and descriptions, and it's really a thorough work. I think this was done by Ton. And it's really, we invested a lot of effort to make sure that we are cleaning everything which is supported by Microsoft and Citrix, whether it's the Windows Update repository and the temp profiles and whatnot. So the work is pretty much done for you guys. It's just a matter of configuring the right conditions, attaching the right script, and enjoying the automation.
And we'll be creating these triggers for the community and actually pushing them out to the console for you to enable. So that way you can pick and choose what we develop. Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me. All right, so this is the custom idle and disconnect timer. So this is the temporal one. I've created a video here to actually show it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Play
go
it?
ahead. Yep.
Okay. Oh, it's here? Or it's sorry. Let's remember if it should run here. Okay.
Very exciting. Come on.
Yeah, there you
Wi-Fi.
go.
All right, so applications have different idle and disconnect timeouts, right? This is the frustration I was telling you about, that siloing servers. So we actually have two applications here, Meditech and Hyperspace. So the servers themselves are configured for an 8-hour idle and a 2-hour disconnect timeout, which exceeds the thresholds of these two applications. Meditech asked for a 5-minute idle and a 5-minute disconnect, and the Hyperspace team asked for a 20-minute and 10-minute. So having them on the same server would be impossible. But now, with ControlUp automation platform, we actually have it so that way these two timers can be triggered by the triggers that we set, the conditions that we set. So in this particular example, the session is going to start idling here. We can tell that from the idle timeout is now at 1 minute. So fast forward.
Nice.
And so he's going to hit his 20-minute timer. All right, so now he gets moved into the disconnected state, which is exactly what you want. So after 20 minutes, he's moved into disconnect. And now the idle time is keeping track of how long he's in that disconnected state. And now we have the other application. We've got Meditech now. So now he's on that 5-minute disconnected timer.
I'm still afraid it won't work even though it's a video. You know? It's crazy.
So after 5 minutes now, we're going to see this user log off. So Emma Comas, I don't know why he's such a hard name to say, but he's going to log off here now because he's hit that 5-minute threshold that we had specified earlier. Boom.
Nice.
And so that, he was on 002 and this other guy's on 002. So once he hits his 10-minute, he's going to log off as well.
And if you think about it, by the way, this is going to be a huge problem on WVD as well because we have now Windows 10 multi-user. So if we used to thought that with the VDI space, this is not an issue because we have like 1 user per OS, no longer, right? We have Windows 10 multi-session, and we need this in any future VDI solution based on the new Windows 10 multi-session feature.
Is anyone here on the cloud? Like Azure or AWS? A couple of people? So if you can imagine, if you're running Citrix on the cloud or if you're running an RDS type session on the cloud, if you were to have this particular scenario where users are asking for different, or application teams are asking for different timeouts, you have to spin up different VMs. So this is actually costing you money to do that. This will solve your problem and help reduce your costs there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other ones, so now we're getting into some automatic remediation. We do event-based actions, so not just are we triggering on our metrics, we can trigger on events itself. So anything that's generated an event log that's an error or a warning, we can pick up that event, we can detect it, and then we can tell the ControlUp automation platform to run a script. So the Citrix performance counters, this is really interesting. Citrix does a health check on their Citrix desktop service when it starts up. And if there's an error, it generates an event log. And sometimes it'll actually tell you what to do to remediate. So in this particular instance, this is a known set of steps to do. Just fix the performance counters and then restart the agent. Maybe it should do that itself, but doesn't. Guess what? We can detect this event now, and we can actually execute these two actions very, very, very simply, very, very quickly. And now, instead of having a server that's broken, you can have one fixed without lifting a finger.
So what you see on screen right now, this is a classic use case of the new control automation platform because A, we have a very clear condition, a very clear indication of an issue. In this case, a specific event ID we can find. And B, we have a very specific reception, if you like, a clear solution we can script. And this is exactly what we're doing here. So instead of just knowing this and manually logging onto the server and opening command line, running the whole thing manually, we can automate that. And actually, we did that, surprisingly. So I think we have it here in the lab environment. And again, it's really, really simple just to make sure you guys are familiar with the actual implementation. So this is a simple event-based trigger. So we just told ControlUp the relevant parameters based on the KB article, so the source, the event ID, and whatnot. And the only thing left to do here is just attach this with the relevant script. In this case, we are rebuilding the performance counters and restarting the Citrix desktop service. That's it. We're done. And we've automated yet another thing which might affect our VDI environment.
Yep, and if that's something that happens on startup, which is what the service does, it's essentially not just a health check now. This is actually fixing your environment, making it working. So this is available for everybody. This is, I think, coming from the customer side, now to the ControlUp side, this is something we've been asking for years, and this is just, oh, I'm so happy.
And actually, I think you said that Carl's script is doing something similar, right?
Yeah, so Carl submitted a script, and he actually found a very, very interesting problem where if you delete an object out of Active Directory, and maybe you could speak to it a bit better, but I'll try my best. but that object still has properties within the Citrix Studio. It's assigned to resources or something like that. Then it'll actually start generating an error because the Citrix configuration service detects that that object doesn't actually exist anymore. And so he's actually written a script to detect that. Did I get that right? He's actually written a script to detect that right now, and then we're pushing him to remediate that, and then we'll put that in there. So thank you.
Yeah.
The community is making.
Yeah.
He's a great example of the community being that rising tides lifts all boats, right? This is wonderful. So he's done all the hard work for you and for us, and we really appreciate it. Everyone should.
Yeah.
75% of the way there, but believe it or not, Citrix has bugs in their PowerShell.
They,
That's beyond our control, man. So the final use case for today is augmented troubleshooting, and Trent actually did something really powerful here.
yes. So augmented troubleshooting, we're going back to that scenario state where we were talking about. We don't want to necessarily do an action, but we want more information. We want information in order to make a decision ourselves, right? Because machines aren't always 100% accurate. So one of the things that we've done is we actually have a script here that detects the logon duration has exceeded some threshold, and we're actually outputting it to ServiceNow. So you can go ahead and click on Open ServiceNow.
Okay, and just while this is opening, imagine imagine the current scenario versus what I'm about to show right now. But currently, the way it's working is someone is calling into the help desk saying, "Hey, I had a slow logon." Good luck with that. That's what you have. Okay, what's your name, server, etc. Now, what we'll show you is
Incidents all.
Yeah, we have streamlined the whole thing. So when we actually experience such an issue, such as a slow logon, this is what the help desk guy can get.
So now, when that information is passed to you, you know exactly what to start looking for, right, and what to start troubleshooting. You don't need to
Hey, it's me. Right?
What did you do?
Okay.
So in this particular instance, yeah, user profile looks like he's the one exceeding our threshold. So now you as a tech, you don't have to call up the user per se right away. You can actually start investigating this without having to minimize those customer interaction or those client interaction points, right? So that way you can actually get more efficient and start working faster.
Yeah, and again, this is just an example. We think about augmented troubleshooting as a great use case. Again, think about any of the current workflows you guys have when someone is opening a ticket or incident or whatnot, and now how we can use this to actually enrich the context, the details, and make resolution much faster. Yeah, that's the whole point. By the way, any questions so far? You guys have been really quiet, which is either it's really great or you have no idea about what we talk about here. Yeah, that's the whole point. Because this is essentially PowerShell scripts, any system which has support for like APIs or webhooks, which can be triggered via PowerShell, will be supported. So we know ServiceNow, we know, I think, SCOM, all the large vendors fully support these kind of.
Yeah, REST APIs are really easy with PowerShell.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay, so these are just the screenshots.
Yeah, so this is the trigger. This is what we set up for running this actual event. So
Yeah.
we've got our trigger, we've got our incident, there's the script, and there's the output. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not done yet, but just before we move on to the insights part, there is a cool thing we're trying to encourage guys to help expand the library. So Trent can expand
Yeah,
about
so
that.
we've been running a contest for the last few weeks called Can You Script It? So we've got a $1,000 bounty up there for...
It went up to 10,000 actually.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Scratch that one.
We'll be announcing it today, the winner of the script contest.
So there is still time.
There's still time to submit. We're looking for use cases. We'll be reviewing the scripts and seeing how they can benefit the community, and the ones that can most benefit the majority of us, they'll be the ones that will be the winner. Yeah.
Yeah. So the URL, this is where you actually submit the idea of the script. Okay, just go there. And obviously we're here down in the expo, so come visit us after the during the expo time. So the final demo I want to cover here is just insights. Okay, so as promised, insights has been really extended. Let's see if I think I'm probably logged off here. Yeah, okay. Let me log back in. So a few things we have improved in insights. I'll try to cover it real quick because we're almost out of time. So we really enhanced insights performance. Okay, so queries, page load times, anything which affected the user experience while working with this platform has been enhanced, okay? So expect much better performance and much shorter query times when you look on reports, okay? And B, and this is something I actually want to show you guys, Trent, let's go to the computer trends report. So one thing we've added, again, that was a really popular request. So our raw data is actually 5 minutes data points, okay? Now, before Insights 124, we only expose the 5 minutes granular data if you would look on the last 2 days worth of data. So if you had like an issue a week ago or a month ago, you had to look on 1 data point per every hour, which is nice, but sometimes it can hide peaks. It can hide some of the issues. So I want to show you now. Let's choose a specific computer trend. Let's go to Buy Computer and choose one computer called CURESH 01. This is actually the VM where we're doing some of the I/O demos. Okay, so again, now we're looking on 24 hours. By the way, you can now notice that the delay between the time we actually upload the data until it's reaching Insights, it's much shorter. Actually, it's almost real time. I think in most cases it will be lower than 1 hour. Okay, even 30 minutes. So that's another improvement we've made with Insights. Okay, now 24 hours is great. We can see data points every 5 minutes, really granular. Let's look on 1 month preset for a sec. So here, by default, we'll show you a data point every 1 hour. Okay, and again, it's nice for kind of like a high-level overview, but it's not that great if you want to troubleshoot a specific CPU peak or whatnot. So, for example, we have a peak right there around May 15. And currently, again, as you can see, it's like 1 data point per hour. Let's go ahead and choose, let's click on the time picker, and let's choose, this is the top 5. Let's click on the time picker right there on the top right corner. Yeah, and let's choose May 30th to May 15th. Okay, we choose 2 days. That's what we need to do. But we can go back. Yeah, let me help with that. No, it's a bit tricky. So, so May 13 to May 15. Okay, so I'm choosing less, and click just on submit there. So we're choosing any period back in even the last year, but as long as it shows the time period, shorter than 2 days, bam, we have the 5 minutes granularity available right here. Okay, so we save the data. Again, it's our database. We host this. You guys are off the hook. And we save the granular data pretty much forever, okay, depending on your license tier. Okay, so you can go back and you see 5 minutes, and this is true for session data, processes, latency, computers, host, everything. Okay, so again, Insights, major improvements. Go check it out. It's huge. It's great. And we're going to add some more reports in the next couple of months. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Okay, I think we can probably go back to the slides here. Yeah. Okay, so just some housekeeping from Citrix. I know that you're going to rate this session as probably the
highest it's going to be?
I know, I hope so. So please do that. It's important for future synergies and some other housekeeping notes from Citrix. Any other questions before we wrap up, guys? Anyone want to ask about the new feature set? Yeah.
Sure.
So in reference to, like, for example, the automated action to clean up the drive, if it fails to do that, are there options within there to retry, abort, or perhaps do another action? Like in XenApp, we would want to set that server in maintenance mode. So are those things available in there?
So that would be stuff that you'd actually have to write into the script itself to check those conditions. The only way showing that you can actually send that script output to yourself so you can actually review those logs and so on and so forth. But yeah, you would have to, we don't check for error codes on the script. You'll have to actually put
there
that
are 2 options, actually. One, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. So there are 2 options. One, built in the logic into the script to do the retries and make sure it's actually fixing the issue. The other option is to rely on our triggering engine, which essentially will trigger the issue, will trigger the automation again after 5 minutes, I think, by default, if the trigger is, if the condition is still on, right? So yeah.
And that's a modifiable timer too.
Yeah.
Seconds, hours, days.
Any other questions, guys? Wrap it up.
Sorry.
The example that you did earlier with the processor priority, is that a one-time fix or is it a permanent state?
Good question.
So that is entirely up to you. So in that particular example, we do have it set so it would be permanent, but if we had another trigger that actually showed that the user input delay had gotten better, then we could bring it back down.
Yeah, so it's completely dynamic. Now, unfortunately, we have to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys. You've been a great audience. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Thanks, Trent.
Thank you.
Man.